Number one, it's to rest and repair. It really is when your body repairs. So again, I think sometimes when you think, oh, we just need to rest, that's almost the sign of weakness in our society and our culture, which is silly, but it is. So instead, realize it's your time to repair. It is the number one time that your brain repairs itself. It actually is like this cleaning time. The brain cleans itself while we're asleep. We need that time to repair our tissues, to repair our systems, to heal and clean our brain. Like, it is vital. I'm Jessica Vallant. I'm a physical therapist, women's health expert, and Pilates teacher, and my goal is to help all women feel strong, safe, and secure in their bodies. In this podcast, I'll share expert advice, facts, amazing guests, stories, compassion, and hope to help you meet your body in all seasons of life. Hi, and welcome back to Meet Your Body. I am so happy to have you here today. We are talking about sleep. I know so many of you are excited about this conversation and probably also like a little bit anxious. I know what it's like when you can't sleep, especially as a middle-aged woman. I'm 47 years old. I know absolutely in the middle of perimenopause how it feels to have those times where you just can't sleep. I also know, as a physical therapist and women's health expert, how important sleep is. So today, we're talking all about sleep. I'm going to tell you about my own sleep journey and the tools that I have found that have helped me. And I'm also going to tell you the most important things that you need to be doing in order to help yourself sleep. I do not want to cause more stress and more anxiety in your life around sleep. That is not my goal. My goal is to really help to educate you about why this is important. Like, I want you to have that knowledge to know why sleep really is so important and vital for our health. So I want you to understand that. And then I want you to have some really actionable tools and steps that you can take that will have a long-term positive effect on your sleep. So I have a lot of notes for today. You will see, if you're watching this live, you will see me looking back and forth to my notes because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything at all. So let's talk first about the importance of sleep. And I feel like, especially in our kind of hustle culture, we have lost the respect of having sleep. It's almost this badge of honor to say, oh, I didn't get any sleep last night. I don't need any sleep. Or, oh, I worked all night. Or, oh, I was up so early. Like, we really have lost not only like I said, the kind of the respect and the honor that we should have for sleep. We almost feel like people who say that they prioritize sleep are weaker or not as productive or not as important in our society. And I absolutely can say I probably fell into that camp for a long time. I felt like it was that badge of honor to say, oh, no, I stayed up till midnight working and then I was up early with the kids. And I fell into that. And really, finally, in the last few years, I have come to understand how much more important it is to feel nourished, to feel rested, and just to take care of this body. This is the one body I have in life. And I am honestly probably more than halfway done on this earth at my age. So I want my second half of life here to feel as good as possible. And I just can say, honestly, it involves sleep. Like, I need to sleep at night. So my kind of story around sleep, and I'm going to tell you my own tools at the end, is that probably about, I would say, like 5 years ago, it was right after 2020, when I did have to work every night. We had very young kids. My husband and I both owned our own businesses. You all know the story because most of you were there too. And so we were with the kids all day. Suddenly we lost school. There was no school anymore. So I had to work at night. I got them to sleep and I stayed up till midnight every single night on my computer. And truly, there are times in life that is going to be necessary for whatever reason. Maybe you have a newborn. You can't force yourself to sleep 8 hours a night. So maybe you have a newborn. Maybe you do have a strange situation like that for me where you just have to work at night. Maybe you have a project that's due. Those things will happen. The key is can you get in and then get out of it? And for me, I just stayed there way too long, where my sleep got less and less and less. My nervous system got very out of whack and fried during that time. And so when I hit these perimenopause symptoms, I started really feeling it. And it was a combination of either not being able to fall asleep at night or waking up at night and not being able to go back to sleep. And after a while, I just realized that wasn't sustainable. It wasn't enjoyable, first off. I don't like to lay there in bed at night. Who likes to lay there in bed at night wide awake? I didn't. So it wasn't enjoyable, but it also just wasn't sustainable. And so this was about a year ago that I really started working on my sleep hygiene, what we call sleep hygiene. How can I sleep better at night? Because I had worked on my nervous system about 3 years ago to get out of that chronic fight or flight, but I really needed to work on sleep. So I will tell you kind of those tools, but that is when I got really interested for myself in realizing sleep is important, and I feel better when I get some at night. I feel a lot better. So let's talk health-wise. Like, what does sleep actually do? Why do you need it? Because I tell you, you do. And as we age, we need it even more, especially in this crazy kind of perimenopausal time. All right, importance of sleep. Number one, it's to rest and repair. It really is when your body repairs. So again, I think sometimes when you think, oh, we just need to rest, that's almost the sign of weakness in our society and our culture, which is silly, but it is. So instead, realize it's your time to repair. It is the number one time that your brain repairs itself. It actually is like this cleaning time. The brain cleans itself while we're asleep. We need that time to repair our tissues, to repair our systems, to heal and clean our brain. Like, it is vital. Sleep also helps with our immune system. It helps with hormone regulation. So we need that sleep time. It helps with cardiovascular health and with energy. It helps with our mental health and our mood and anxiety. And it also helps reduce the risk of chronic diseases. So in general, how much sleep should you get? I know this kind of number out there, the abstract number we all hear is 8 hours a night. I think it's a little bit different for everyone. So you need to find the number that's best and most realistic for you in the season of life you're in. I know personally, I do feel best if it's 8 hours. Absolutely. More realistically, with having kids in elementary and middle school and activities at night, getting them fed, getting them to bed, and then really early school start times, which I know a lot of you can relate to. I mean, our alarm goes off at 6:25 a.m. and I can't change that. That is absolutely the latest that it can go off, that we can get lunches, dressed, and out the door. So with all of that said, during the week, 7.5 hours is a great night. If I can get a solid 7.5 hours, like, that is fantastic and realistic. I really stressed myself out for a while, trying to force myself to get in bed by 10:30, like asleep, right? Like eyes closed, asleep at 10:30. I caused myself more stress thinking, oh, I'm not going to get a full 8 hours. And that almost made things worse than when I just accepted, you know what, if my eyes are closed at 11, that's fantastic. I'm just going to go with that and try to make it up on the weekends. I don't recommend that. Like, when you're looking at 4 or 5 hours, you cannot burn the midnight oil and get 4 hours a night and think that you can make it up over the weekend. That doesn't necessarily work. But again, that idea of, okay, if it's close to it, I can function really well on 7.5. I feel great on 8, but I can function well on 7.5. That's what works for me. My husband needs a lot less, and it just blows me away, but he just really does. He needs less. And then some people I know need more. I have friends who are like, oh no, I need 9, maybe 10. So I want you to figure it out a little bit for yourself. I want you to not stress if you're a little bit less than that. That happens sometimes. But just know, on average, you do need around that 8 hours, maybe even a little bit more, to really give your body its full functioning and healing and cleaning and repairing potential. All right. So let's talk about what you need to be doing to help your sleep. Like, this is why we're here. This is the most important thing. So I have, I think, 6. I'm going to count them for you. Oh, yes, we have 6. Okay. So number 1, I want you to take a good, honest look at what is keeping you from sleeping. Like, you have to do an assessment first. And it could be so many things, but you have to be really honest and look at it clearly. Is it that you have little kids? Again, realistic, totally understandable. Okay. Do you have a newborn? can't necessarily get out of that newborn phase? Do you have kids that are a little bit older that are coming in to wake you up in the middle of the night? Do you have a dog that sleeps with you that tends to move around a lot? Or do you have a puppy that you have to get up with or that is barking? Do you have a partner that snores? Do you have hot flashes? Do you have a new project at work or a relationship in your life that's causing you a lot of anxiety? Do you stay up reading or watching TV really late at night? Are you eating really late at night? Are you drinking coffee late in the day? What is it? Like, I just want you to look at that because that is really helpful information for you to have to know where your attention needs to go. So don't just throw your hands up and say, oh, I just can't sleep. Really look at it and say, okay, yes, that's possible, but also why? Like, is it that I can't fall asleep at night because my mind is going? Is it that I can fall asleep just fine, but then I wake up at 3 a.m. because of this snoring person or because my kid had a nightmare or because we have a puppy, whatever it is? I want you to figure those things out, okay? Even if it's things you feel like, well, I can't change that, Jessica. That's okay. Just list them out. It tells you where you need to prioritize the next steps. All right. So that's the first thing to do. Number 2, the most important thing is your stress and anxiety levels. And don't get more stressed by hearing me say that, okay? Because I know so many of us think, of course I'm stressed. The world is stressful. Our lives are stressful. Absolutely. And it is slowly killing us. And I am not saying that just to be flippant. I am saying truthfully, it is a health epidemic. What is happening to us and our stress levels and our nervous system dysregulation. And so I'm going to keep talking about this. And it's something I'm looking long and hard on in my own life. And I have for a few years now. And yes, it means making some hard decisions, even around boundaries or what you say yes to or what you let go of or what you include in your life. But it is so necessary to take a look at stress and anxiety in your life. That doesn't mean we can remove it all. I know we cannot. It's more about how are you reacting to it? And are there pieces of it that you can release? Because there are some things we can't, but then a lot of times we add to it ourselves. So we need to think about that as what can I possibly release? And also, it really needs to be number one, because what I find in clients, but also in myself, we will talk about supplements, but just for example, like a melatonin supplement, I find for myself, if I just throw those things on top of whatever else is already going on, like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed, but I'm just going to take some melatonin to help me sleep. It actually doesn't. Like, it might make me really groggy. So sometimes I can kind of fall asleep in this groggy state, but then I'll still wake up and I still don't feel rested in the morning because I've thrown those extra things on top of this stress and anxiety and nervous system that is not regulated. It has to be the baseline of everything else. And I do have some other resources and podcasts. I'm going to have a lot of links under this show for you guys after today. But I have some about like my own chronic stress history and story and some tools that you can use for that. But first, I just want you to take a look at it. Is there anything that you kind of can release? Another really good tool, like as you're doing a long-term work on your own nervous system, one thing you can do in the short term is before you go to bed at night, and it doesn't have to be right away before bed, but maybe sometime after dinner. Okay, anytime after dinner when you should start winding down. If you are having a hard time letting things go, if you ruminate like I do, like it sits in your mind and it goes and it goes and it goes. If you have a hard time with that, write it all down. Do a brain dump sometime in the afternoon or after dinner. Do a brain dump and write down everything that's going through your mind or your entire to-do list. Even if it's like, oh my gosh, I'm even stressed about brushing my teeth tomorrow because I don't have time. Write it down. Okay, write down all of it. It is amazing how much your body will release that stress around your to-do lists or around those rumination thoughts if you simply get them down on paper. Your body almost thinks you've done them. Okay, so that is a really important, valuable tool that you can do. Again, it's not going to solve everything long-term if you're in that chronic fight or flight, but it can really help on a day-to-day basis. And it can definitely help in that kind of rumination, especially before bed. So that's one thing that I would do. Another thing to really think about is what little tools can you do? Maybe you add some breathing practices during the day. Maybe you can add some vagus nerve. We've talked about that on my YouTube channel on how to do vagus nerve massage. Again, like little 5 minute, just like we talk about 5 minute movement snacks during the day. Can you do 5 minute nervous system snacks? Just 5 minute little times to let that nervous system calm down. And then long term, what plans can you put into place? Either possibly removing things from your life. Again, this needs to be kind of a deep dive long term, but is there anything you need to adjust in your life? Anything you can remove? Anything that you need to do around having a conversation with someone to help to move your nervous system to a more like nourished, restful place? Again, that doesn't mean removing all stress from your life. That is not possible, I know, but it's that chronic stress. It's that constant fight or flight feeling, that constant kind of anxiety feeling. That's what is really affecting our health and keeps us up at night. So that is something that I want you to address, and that needs to be kind of top thought, okay? Because even with the tools I'm going to tell you that you can do day to day, just adding them on top of a dysregulated or fight or flight nervous system isn't necessarily going to solve the root problem. And we want to solve the root problem. So that's the next thing, okay? Number 3 is exercise. Exercise helps you sleep at night. And it's not just because it helps you get tired. It is fascinating what exercise does. So when you exercise, when you move your body, okay, and it can be your regular workouts, but it can also be long hikes, working in your yard, gardening, a lot of housework, painting a room, whatever it is, playing with your kids or your grandkids. When you do that, when you exercise, it causes cellular metabolism and breaks down something called ATP, all right? When you break down ATP, something called adenosine is created or it is produced in our body. You don't need to remember all this. It's just fascinating though. Okay. So exercise leads to a breakdown of ATP, which leads to production of a lot of adenosine in your body. Adenosine plays a role in making you feel sleepy and tired at night. And it also helps the health of your brain. So it doesn't just make your muscles in your body tired when you work out. It literally produces a substance that we need to help us feel sleepy and to help our brains heal and like do that whole cleaning process I talked about at night. And it's not only physical workouts that do that, but also we can get some of that by just using our brains all day. And I can tell you, like when I sit in front of the computer, which I know is a whole other thing why it makes me tired, but when I really have to, am I working really hard on a project or kids are studying all day, that can have a similar action. So just making sure you are using your body, using your brain during the day. The one thing about exercise is you might not want to do it too close to sleep because it won't give yourself enough time to get sleepy. Like movement anytime is great movement, so don't stress yourself about that. But it is good if you can possibly not exercise like in those couple hours before you go to sleep at night because it might keep you up a little bit. But otherwise, move your body during the day. You have to in order to help your body feel sleepy at night. All right. So we've covered stress and anxiety. We have covered exercise, and we've covered taking that good look at what is going on and what you need to address. The next thing is food. This is really important too, and a big piece that people miss sometimes. So let's talk about what happens when you eat, and specifically, well, let's talk about just what happens when you eat anything to start with. When you eat anything, but especially if it's like a high sugar meal or high sugar drinks, alcohol, those kind of things, your blood sugar spikes. Your body releases insulin. It's a hormone that takes that sugar and puts it into your cells and into your body for you to use later. That is what it's meant to do. It saves our life. It takes us from a hyperglycemic state and takes that sugar out of the bloodstream. But if you spike your blood sugar really high with those kind of foods, and the body's like, oh my gosh, emergency, we got to get that sugar out of the bloodstream. So it sends in insulin. Your blood sugar plummets really low, hypoglycemic state. Your body doesn't like that either. It actually likes that even less. So it releases cortisol. That's your stress hormone. So your body will release cortisol if your blood sugar is too low. Cortisol will make you awake. It's your stress hormone, okay? It will wake you up because your body's like, must eat, must eat. Your blood sugar is too low. So when you eat a high sugar meal, a lot of alcohol, which is sugar, when you eat those things too close to bedtime, you will wake up around 3 or 4 a.m. because your body is releasing cortisol to try to get your blood sugar back up. You might not necessarily feel hunger pangs, but that is what is happening. It is fascinating. And that hopefully is just a light bulb for some of you listening right now that, again, like I said, you don't need to do a huge stressful change, except maybe just that. Maybe that's the one thing that you can adjust over the next month is kind of when and or what you are eating or drinking at night. I'm not going into a big conversation around alcohol today, but I'm saying, look at that. Like, are you having 2 drinks 7, 8 o'clock at night? Can you change that? Can you drop it to 1 drink and have it before dinner so that you have more time to process it and digest it and you can add food to it? Can you add more protein to your dinner at night if you tend to eat late for whatever reason? Let's say you need to for work and you're saying, Jessica, I have to eat late. I get it. It happens sometimes, but that needs to be a higher protein meal. It needs to be something that's going to keep your blood sugar more stable and more level. So that alone can be such a great tool. Again, I'm not even talking intermittent fasting here. Okay. That's a conversation for a whole other day. This really is just about kind of looking at your habits. What are you eating at night? How close to bed are you eating? And I'm not telling you even not to eat right before bed. Sometimes, again, different seasons of life, you might find, gosh, I really need to eat. I want you to listen to your hunger cues. But that's a time to have a small bowl of yogurt, right? Like something that's a higher in protein, not going to spike your blood sugar. Again, tools such as if you're having an alcoholic drink at night, have it earlier. Can you have it around 5 p.m.? Can you have it right before you eat so you have time to digest it? Your body has time to process it. That can make a really big difference if you're finding yourself waking up at that 3 or 4 a.m. time and can't get back to sleep. Look at when and what you're eating at night. Blue light. Okay, this is another I don't want to say simple because some of us in our habits, I know these can be hard, but this is another tool that you can just check off and just say, oops, yeah, I am doing that a lot. You need to be turning off your devices about 2 hours before you close your eyes at night. Blue light, and we're talking blue light from computers, from iPads, from TV screens, from phones, all those things that we're looking at night too late. Blue light inhibits our body's own ability to produce melatonin. So it keeps us awake, just period. That's what it's doing. So that for me, and I think you can also look at it for me when I was working till midnight. I don't know if it was the blue light as much as just the stress. I mean, my, again, nervous system was wired. I was working, answering emails, all of that late at night. It gave me no time to relax, but it was also probably the blue light. If you absolutely have to, like, let's say you're studying, let's say for whatever reason, your schedule, you need to be looking at a device at night. Or if you're saying, gosh, I love to watch TV to wind down, get a pair of blue light blocker glasses. That can help a lot. It's just one little thing. I know on at least iPhones now, it has a setting that you can adjust the blue light at night. So you can look at that. And then also, if nothing else, okay, if you use these things to wind down at night and you can't imagine taking them away, if nothing else, set yourself some arbitrary number boundary where you say, at this point, I turn it all off. Do not fall asleep with the TV on. Like, remove that habit. You got to break that habit. That's not good. Because again, it's just blue light at you all night if you're falling asleep with it. So make some boundary. For me, it is, I do not look at my phone in bed at night. And social media, I shut down way early. So for my stress, I learned to do that. After dinner, I do not look at work or social media. Okay, after dinner, I'm done with that because nothing needs to be answered that night. So I don't, and then I don't look at it again in the morning till the kids are off to school. But just for my nervous system, that's how I do it. That's been a really important one for me to be able to rest and kind of stay calm. But I will sometimes watch a show with my husband at night to that point. So again, that's the blue light, but we stop it. We move from the TV room. We don't have a TV in our bedroom. We move from the TV room into the bedroom. And then I have a whole routine to get sleepy after that. So again, look at those things. It doesn't mean you have to remove them all, but how can you incorporate it? What's keeping you up? How can you incorporate these things to help yourself? Okay, so that's blue light. And then let's talk about supplements finally. So those are the things to do first. Okay. All of those things need to happen first. Then there are some supplements, and I am not here to tell you what or when or how, but you can look into them. You can talk to your doctor about them. Melatonin, obviously, many people use, and there's some great research out there around melatonin. There's some valerian tea. So Valerian. I would say about once a week, I will have like a cup of tea with valerian in it, and that kind of makes me sleepy. But again, I find the same thing. If my nervous system is already out of whack, it'll just make me groggy. I need to be doing the work myself first. But that can help. And those can help more in times that you need a reset. Let's say you've been traveling and you come back and you're just all out of schedule. Sometimes you just need a day or two to reset everything. And sometimes those supplements can just help with those times. Or if somebody in your family has been really sick and finally you guys are getting back to a normal routine and you just find you need to reset. Like I've been up every night with a sick child for, 4 nights in a row. I need one good night's sleep to kind of reset everything. Sometimes maybe a melatonin or valerian tea can help in that situation. Again, ask your doctor first or a functional medicine doctor if it's right for you. And then my final advice in all of that is if you have extra things, and I'm putting this in air quotes, extra meaning things we didn't address, such as hot flashes, such as incontinence or prolapse issues that are waking you up a lot. I want you to commit to seeing someone to help. Don't just say, this is the way it is. It's just what happens when you get older. What can you do? Can you see pelvic health physical therapist, pelvic floor physical therapist to help with prolapse? I have prolapse. I lived with prolapse for a long time. I've had prolapse surgery. I know what it's like to pee 30 times a day. Absolutely. And it has gotten so much better. And I sleep through the night, sometimes about half and half. I sleep through the night. Sometimes I wake up once a night to go to the bathroom. It can be helped. You can help those things, even hot flashes. See a functional medicine doctor and say, my quality of life is so low. I am not sleeping through the night. Yes, I've done these other things. I'm working on my eating at night. I am exercised during the day. I'm working on my nervous system. I've looked at my entire sleep routine. I keep the room cool at night, keep the room dark at night. I'm doing the brain dump. I'm doing all those things. And these hot flashes are still there. So what's that? What can we do about that piece? So I want you to know there are things you can address. All right. So those are the general things I really want you to work on to help with your sleep. So now there's a couple extra tools that I personally have found have helped me a lot. Because when I went through this, again, 6 to 12 months ago, when I just found I was not falling asleep well at night at all, which was a little bit different for me. Typically I can. There are a couple things that came up. One is I found, so I love to read. I read a lot, and I read my fiction books at night when I'm putting the kids to sleep. Like I will lay with them and I read on my Kindle. And I found I was getting so into these fiction books because I wouldn't read them during the day, just at night. And so I would read them right up until the time I tried to fall asleep. And you just might need to know this about yourself. But for me, I have a very sensitive subconscious. I can't watch anything that is like difficult to watch. I can't watch things about kids. I can't watch things about women getting hurt. I can't watch things about that are too scary. I can't watch things that are gory. I can't watch any of that, especially at night. It goes straight into my dreams. I have dreams about it all night long. I just can't. And I was finding with my fiction books, I don't read things about that because I know that about myself, but I would get so into the story and excited about it that I couldn't fall asleep at night thinking about it. And then I would dream about it. And that might sound silly to a lot of you, but I absolutely discovered that I have to stop reading my fiction books, at least on my Kindle, when I get in bed. So instead, when I get in bed, I will just read from a real book. Set my phone down. I don't even read my Kindle. I just read from a real book. Or honestly, I just kind of lay there with my eyes closed and let myself kind of drift and my thoughts go around. It just depends on the night. But that is one thing that has been really important for me. Letting my subconscious and my thoughts calm down is actually to stop reading my fiction books that I love. maybe 30 minutes before bed, before I get in bed. I can't do it right up until closing my eyes. So that's one. Two is the brain dump anxiety kind of piece that has helped me a lot. Three is a weighted blanket. I swear by my weighted blanket. I will link all this stuff to you guys below. If again, you have maybe like a restless leg situation, if you do find you're more of an anxious person, I have hypermobility, which kind of works along with the anxiety a little bit. So a weighted blanket just calms my entire nervous system. And sometimes I'll just put it from my knees down. So if you get really hot or you don't like them, just having it on my lower legs actually relaxes my whole body. So that helps. And then also using my PEMF mat. Now this is a huge investment. I'm going to say it right off the bat. You do not need it. All of these other tools will help. Okay. All of them. I do have, as you guys know, I've talked to you about red light. I love my PEMF mat. I will link it below if you don't know what I'm talking about, but it is a mat, electromagnetic mat, and it's heated and it relaxes me so much. It's kind of one of my tools for my nervous system. So I will link that below. Again, it is not necessary, okay? And it's a huge investment, but I will say, wanting to focus on feeling calm and my sleep during this perimenopause time, with the red light, it has helped quite a bit. So those are a few. Oh, and then one other thing, I really kind of looked at my coffee intake. You guys know I love coffee, but I don't believe it or not, I don't actually drink that much. I have 1 8-ounce cup in the morning, and then I like about 6 ounces in the afternoon. But I was having it a little bit late. And so I did that as well. So along with everything else I talked about, and then the fiction books and the weighted blanket, I just made sure I wasn't having that afternoon coffee after 3 o'clock. But what's interesting is if I take care of all the other things, okay, if I take care of my nervous system, if I nourish my body, my mind, my soul, if I give myself lots of hugs with the kids, walks outside, like really that idea of nourishment, okay? So notice I'm not saying removing all stress from my life. There's still stress. The world is still around us going on. Life will still throw curveballs. I mean, all of this was happening after a breast cancer diagnosis for me. So stress is still there. But if I do everything I can during the day to stay nourished, body, mind, and soul, for whatever that means for me in that season of life, that is when the other tools really come in to work. They'd like just fill in the gaps, that weighted blanket, all of those things just fill in the gaps to help me have a good night's sleep. So it has to really start, I find, from that, again, nervous system, nourishment place. Promise me you're not rolling your eyes right now, okay? Because I know you're saying, oh my gosh, but I have hot flashes and those are real. Absolutely, they're real, okay? 100% they are. And all the treatment and the things you need to do to help your hot flashes will be more efficient and more optimized if you can also work on that nervous system piece. They go hand in hand. So I'm saying do both. Okay, we need all of it. And then give it time. This isn't like a quick fix. Like I said, yes, you can sometimes help your sleep that night and get kind of a quick reset if you need it. But really, I want you to give it a month. Like you are going to make it your job to look into what might be keeping you awake and to deal with all the things we talked about. Look at your habits around blue light, around eating at night, around exercise, around nervous system. Think about either maybe a weighted blanket or can I just put my phone down earlier at night? Like, what can you do? You're going to give it a month to do all those things. And then you're going to see where you're at. And then you're also going to address the really real things that might be waking you up. Okay. Do you need pelvic floor physical therapy if you're waking up to pee a lot at night? Do you need to see a functional medicine doctor to look at some hormone levels if your hot flashes are out of control? Do you need to possibly do some therapy if you find you just can't stop that rumination and those ruminating thoughts and those anxious thoughts? Your sleep is worth it. Your health is worth it. Absolutely it is. And I promise you there are things that you can do about it. It's not something you just have to suffer through. It's not a badge of honor. They are not handing out medals for those of us who need the least amount of sleep. Okay. They're just not. So promise your body, promise yourself that you will work on your sleep. I guarantee you'll be doing something so wonderful for your own health. All right, feel free to reach out. If you have any questions, check out the links below. I will put ones to previous podcasts, and I will definitely put product links to things that I've used myself. And we will hopefully start getting some really good sleep together. All right, thanks for meeting me on Meet Your Body today, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much for listening today. I would love it if you could take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. It means a lot to us, and it helps our content get out to more women who need it. You can find more of my resources at my website, jessicavallant.com, or find me on YouTube at Jessica Vallant and Instagram at Jessica S. Vallant.